Don't Look Up is the brand new Netflix film directed by Adam McKay and stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Rob Morgan, Jonah Hill, Meryl Streep, Kate Blanchett, Tyler Perry, Ron Perlman, Timothy Chalamet, many, many more of this pretty much all-star cast. The film is about there is a comet that is coming to destroy Earth in 6 months. It is founded by Michigan State professor Leonardo DiCaprio and his student Jennifer Lawrence, and they take it to the president, played by Meryl Streep, and the chief of staff, Meryl Streep's son, played by Jonah Hill. And they are basically told to basically sit tight and assess as a nuclear thing will a missile, a nuclear meteorite will destroy Earth. At the same time, they go on to promote shows via the media, via a show with Kate Blanchett and Tyler Perry, and later, because Jennifer Lawrence is famous, Timothy Chalamet comes involved as well. Also, Mark Rylance. Mark Rylance is also in the film. He plays like a Steve Jobs character who has the tech that can make the meteorite into trillions of dollars once it lands on Earth. The film is 2 hours and 25 minutes and is rated R. Welcome back to a brand new movie review here at Mac Talks Movies. We're talking about Don't Look Up, one of my most anticipated Netflix films of the entire year. Can I talk about with you in the comment section down below? Let me know if you like this film. A very divisive film, really divisive film with the critics, and audiences seem to like it, but critics are very divided on it. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below if you've seen it. If you have not seen it, are you waiting for more Oscars to start coming around for you to check this one out? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. I do movie reviews like these, TV show reviews, streaming platform reviews, movie rankings, and box office breakdown shows. So subscribe, ring the bell. You'll see more of these, especially heading into 2022. And also, please like the video, the thumbs up. That's how you support the channel in the best way. So let's talk about this film. So as I said, the trailers really won me over. This is definitely the best ensemble of actors we've seen in a movie all year long. I mean, you have all these Oscar, not just nominated, but winning actors. When you talk about Leonardo DiCaprio and Meryl Streep and Jonah Hill and Kate Blanchett and Jennifer Lawrence and Mark Rylance, these are all Oscar award nominated or winning actors in this film, with a director, Adam McKay, who his last two films have been nominated for, I believe, both picture and for himself. So he's coming off Vice and The Big Short, and I've seen every Adam McKay film. We've talked about the two Anchorman films, the Talladega Nights, other guys. I just think he's one of the best comedic directors of the last 20 years. And this is, of course, a satirical drama, because the way that Adam McKay looks at this meteorite hitting Earth is the same way that everyone's kind of, in his opinion, handling COVID. And I can definitely see why this people can hit a little bit too good for home on how a lot of the media gets used in this film. Politics, it's not really political, but it definitely shows both sides of the spectrum of what it is, if this would happen, and what sides people would choose. But I do think the main difference that I think the film absolutely nails on is the difference between COVID and meteorite, meaning that in COVID, everyone here obviously definitely get vaccinated, but everyone does have a choice to get vaccinated. And this is the situation where it's kind of out of everyone's hands except the president, who can put the right things into detail to have this happen. But it really, once this stuff comes, there's nothing people can do to avoid it. It's either going to hit Earth or it's not going to, or they're going to send missiles to hit the meteorite so it avoids Earth. All these different things. So that's kind of the one things. But one of the best parts of the movie, obviously, is the cast. But the two strongest characters are, of course, Leo's character and Jennifer Lawrence's character. They're just true scientists who do feel like real people, real scientists who, in this situation, if it real, which is one of the scary parts of the movie, that it kind of feels like this situation could actually happen in this fashion. Maybe not to the over-the-top extent as some of the characters are, but you can feel that, especially in Leo and Jennifer Lawrence's, they are definitely the more authentic, relatable characters in the film, because they're just scientists who were brought in and were basically told that the Earth's going to be destroyed in 6 months, and the president's kind of like sit tight and assess because of her self-ego about the midterms in a couple weeks. And the fact that, science is obviously real, and these people are just kind of losing their minds because they have the truth, they have the proof, but a large portion of not just the government, but the actual country don't believe them. And they are just normally just seen as regular memes and what people actually care about, or singer breakups, including Ariana Grande's character, who really gives that's a really good scene where Leo and Jennifer Lawrence, they go to Cate Blanchett and Tyler Perry's show. And that's where they meet Ariana Grande's character, who's just coming off of a major, celebrity breakup. But that's the real talk of town. And these two real scientists are talking about the world kind of exploding, and no one really cares, and they move on to the next thing. Just awareness is definitely the biggest theme of the film, being aware of it, and how the media and the people in power can really swerve that into kind of being an afterthought or not believable, which I do think the film absolutely nails. DiCaprio, of course, is fantastic as usual. Is this one of his best performances? It probably is not, but it doesn't mean anything because he's just arguably the best actor, one of the best actors of all time. So when he's on screen, especially with this big of a cast, with all these fantastic actors, I mean, you have Leo and Meryl Streep, who could be the two arguably best actors living in the same movie in multiple scenes together. It's kind of not to watch. But my favorite performance of the entire film was Jennifer Lawrence, who plays this. She's like a student, up and coming student, or not up and coming student. She plays like, I guess, Leo's number one at Michigan State. I forgot what her role was in the college, but she's definitely the more authentic person. She's kind of just losing her mind mentally and emotionally, that, she's the one who actually discovered the comet, and, the comet is named after her, but no one's freaking out. And she's obviously in a life or death situation. She actually understands. She's not just a scientist who's fascinated in the comet and just thinks it's a beautiful thing. She sees the horror that the comet will bring, and everyone else seems very casual and normal about it. And she's the kind of one person who is kind of looking at it in the extreme way. And that's why in the trailer you kind of see her yelling at the show, because everyone's kind of joking around about this and not taking it seriously. And Leo, again, is going through a lot of anxiety and pressures about it. So he's not really overreacting to anything. And she is kind of all over the place at the whole movie. And Jennifer Lawrence is really perfect in this movie. She's really, really good. It's so great to see her in this type of film, because the past couple of years, she really hasn't made anything that great. She kind of walked through the last couple X-Men films. I thought Joy was probably her last performance, and that was 5 years ago. So it's nice to see her back in the fold of a big time Oscar award contending probably film. So it's nice to see her back in the fold. I'm not sure she'll get Best Actress, but she really is easily the most authentic character. I feel like the audience at times in the film. Of course, the whole cast is great. The dynamic between the mother son of Meryl Streep being the president, and her chief of staff being her son Jonah Hill. They have great on-screen chemistry together. I do love both of them. Meryl Streep has some really good one-liners in the film. I wish Jonah Hill was a touch funnier, because some of his jokes don't totally land, but his dynamic with Streep is kind of what's funny. Again, all the actors are really good. Mark Rylance, of course, is so funny, being this like awkward Steve Jobs-like person who does have some evil in him on what he wants to accomplish with this goal, and how easily he could sway the president just because of how much money he's worth. Tyler Perry and Cate Blanchett play perfectly good TV hosts who just want to, talk about everything in a positive light, but sometimes how that isn't true, and not everything's positive, and sometimes you just have to be serious. And those two performances do nail the idea of the perfect life, and how nothing, even as worse as this situation, can deter them from talking about other stuff on their show. Timothy Chalamet is in a very minor role, didn't feel too necessary. He's kind of thrown together in the last 45 minutes of the movie. It didn't feel as necessary for him to be in the movie whatsoever, other than really adding a religious side to the plot. It just his character didn't feel necessary whatsoever. Ron Perlman was really funny, playing this astronaut who's the one who's going to space to possibly get rid of this meteor. That was pretty funny. Rob Morgan in a very subtle role, especially when you're talking about putting him next to Lawrence and DiCaprio for most of the film. He's really, really solid as well. The whole cast is great, but it really is definitely the funniest film that I've seen all year. I was laughing really throughout a lot more in the first hour 15 of the film than the last hour and 15 or so. So the first half of the film, I was really laughing throughout. I was laughing on and off, I would say, in the second half, but this is definitely the funniest movie I've seen all year long. And the reason why is that it just feels all too real, and that you have to just laugh it off, and not everything. You can't take everything too seriously. I think a lot of people are taking this film a little bit too personally, because it is coming a little bit too close to home. A lot of these people feel like real people in society in the way they would handle, and you can see a lot of people in this society feel acting like a lot of these characters if this situation was true. And I thought that they did nail how authentic this actually is. No, this is not a true story. It's not based on real events. The characters themselves at times do feel, especially with Lawrence and DiCaprio, really authentic, and they did have to nail that. But as a transition to some negatives, as I said, the first half is a lot better than the second half of the film. You really do feel the runtime of 2.5 hours. It's way too long for this type of film, especially for a comedy film. It's tough to keep your audience continually laughing for 2.5 hours. That's a really tough job for anyone, including Adam McKay and this top tier cast. So you could kind of feel the wheels kind of coming off of the jokes in the last hour of the movie. Once things become really serious, the jokes do kind of fall apart, I would say, in the last hour of the film, just because you were laughing continuously. And sometimes they go a bit too far with the jokes at certain points. There are a couple subplots I didn't really love. They have a whole thing of DiCaprio's family and how he's kind of in this romance. He has a marriage with kids, but then he starts to fling with Cate Blanchett's character. That doesn't really, it does not really fit the movie. It's just a distraction for what the movie actually is. And then Jennifer Lawrence's romantic interest, played by Himsheth Patel, in the first 30 minutes, that was also a pretty useless subplot to put in the film. As I said, it is too long. It's 2.5 hours, and you can feel yourself being in the movie for 2.5 hours, especially once the first half is kind of over. The second half does kind of drag, especially when the jokes start to not land. But overall, I had a really good time with Don't Look Up. As I said, it's the funniest movie I've seen all year. Will this be an Oscar contender? Not quite sure. Again, it feels like for acting, it seems like the only person who seems to be in the race is DiCaprio, as usual. But Meryl Streep is really good in the supporting actress category, and I also think Jennifer Lawrence deserves a lot of credit. I think she was the best part of the entire movie. And Adam McKay, as usual. I think this is better than Vice. And The Big Short in this, it's tough to compare this to any other Adam McKay film because it is a different type of comedy than his last couple. So overall, I'm going to give Don't Look Up a 4 out of 5 stars and 84% for Don't Look Up. This is definitely one of the best Netflix films of the entire year, and definitely one of them. It's in my top, I think, 15 or 20 of the entire year. So definitely, if you don't get deterred by critics, again, when there's divisive films, have your own opinion. Don't walk into a divisive movie and say, well, because it's divisive, I'm going to be on the negative side. Have an open mind when you're watching this film. And if you generally like it, talk about the movie and praise it. If you don't like it, that's okay as well. But don't bash someone else. Divisive films have had troubles the past couple of years, especially on social media, just killing the other side. That's the whole point of this movie. Don't hit on the other side. If people don't like the movie, that's the whole point of film. Film's subjective. So if you like it, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you don't like the film, let me know why in non-spoiler fashion in the comment section down below. I would love to know your thoughts. If you agree with me or disagree with me with this film. So that's my review of Don't Look Up. Coming up next here on the channel, I'll have my Matrix films ranking. That will be coming out as soon as after Christmas, as well as my box office breakdown show, as well as my top 10 Netflix films of the entire year, because that will then lead to the top 10 movies and top 10 worst films of the year. So I can't wait to break down all these rankings. More reviews are still coming down the line, including Kingsman, and possibly Sing 2 as well. So a lot to get to. I just want to wish all of you a very safe and happy Christmas here on the channel as we head into Christmas. Definitely do it as safely as possible, and everyone have a nice Christmas. I'll see you guys soon.